Welcome to the Mama Talk, البودكاست يلي بنحكي فيه بكل شي بخصوص المotherhood، من تحديات للانتصارات الصغيرة ولحظات الفرح، من تدريب النوم أو البوتي تريننج، رضاعة أو childbirth وقصص تاني كتير. أنا اسمي كريستين زغيبتوما، your trusted parental coach، وكل أسبوع رح أقدم لكم expert advice، tips وقصص حقيقية وأفكار عملية رح تساعدكم تعيشوا مرحلة الأمومة بطريقة أسهل وأمتع. So grab your coffee, settle in, let's chat. صار وقت the Mama Talk. هلو ويلكم بحلقة جديدة من The Mama Talk Podcast. اليوم معي topic وحدا شي كتير interesting وغريب. topic شوي controversial للمامز والدادز والparents in general، يلي هو ال educational toys وتويز in general، وشو صح وشو غلط لأولادنا. اليوم معي رنا السخاوي founder of Monkibox بالإمارات وبالريجن هون بالGCC. رنا, welcome, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this.
أنا كمان. I think everyone listening or viewing us today is excited to learn more about Monkibox. For the past few years, we've been hearing a lot about it in the UAE, and you've been spreading around the region. عنا هون بالGCC, and we wanted to know more about Monkibox. Before we dive into Monkibox things, I wanted to know more about you. How did Monkibox come to life?
Okay, so it's quite a funny story. So I have two kids. Okay, when I had my first child, I have a very specific personality where I wanna make sure that I'm being the best at everything. And as any other mom, I wanted to make sure that I was providing my daughter with the best, right? And I do the research and I kind of figure out, okay, in terms of feeding, I understood how to do it, what she needs. I started figuring out, okay, in terms of routine, but I didn't even think about play, okay? And there was this one incident. كنا مرة قاعدين أنا وتاليا. I remember كانت عمرها I think 8 شهور أو 10 شهور. okay, فكنا قاعدين وكنت لسه جايبة لها like بس عارفة الأكتيفيتي tables اللي كلها like buttons وأنوار وكل يعني
all the gimmicks كلهم
all the
موجودين.
gimmicks literally. I was so excited وقاعدين على الأرض in her play area. فإنه I started like pressing the buttons and you know like trying to get some playing يعني.
Interaction going on.
Nothing. She just looked at it. She pressed a button. Music تلعب. She pressed another button. Like the swing jumped out. And then she crawled away completely uninterested. Okay. And at this moment,
and you there thought you did a great thing buying that kit.
Exactly. And it was like fancy, expensive, you know, like I felt like I was very excited about it. And honestly, no, when this happened, I sat there and I was just, I felt very disconnected. Okay. I felt very disconnected because, you know, here I am thinking that I'm doing the best for her, but I realized that I actually don't know or I don't understand what's going on through her brain, like what's going on through her head. Like, why did she react this way? Why did she not interact? Why, you know? And it was literally at this point in time where I realized that I don't know anything about brain development. Like I had no idea. So I started doing so much research. I went down a rabbit hole of understanding what's going on in my child's head. And through that, I just started learning so much and learning about how the first 3 years of a child's life, 80% of the brain develops. Okay. So basically what this means, it's the first 3 years of life, your brain is creating the neural networks. So it's basically building its own brain architecture, right? And this sets the foundation for all future learning. So it's such a critical period of time. So knowing this, I started freaking out a lot more now.
Of course.
Me just trying to figure out, okay, how can I support, like, what do I need to do? Like, because it's early brain development. Obviously it happens on its own, but the good structure that you want to build with the neural networks doesn't happen on its own. Okay. You have to create specific experiences for your child. And these things are actually, it's not rocket science. It's not something very difficult. It's just that people don't understand it. People don't understand. They're not educated enough. You know, they don't know what to do. Parents don't know what to do and how to support their child's brain development. And they're not at fault in any way. It's just it's not something that when you like babies don't come with a manual at the end
Of
of the day,
course, yeah.
right? Like we don't come with a manual. And to understand this, you need to do a lot of research. You need to really look for it. And to be honest, in this day of age, like most parents are, everybody's busy. Everybody, like, there's a lot going on all the time, and you have so much information and trying to dissect all this information. So this is where the idea of Monkibox started cooking, because I started realizing, okay, what if I take like all the different things that I'm learning and putting it into something that is practical?
That's interesting.
Like creating something that I can utilize with my kids, that other parents can utilize. That's obviously after doing so much research and interviewing so many parents, يعني, talking to my friends, talking to other peers, getting,
Of course.
and trying to understand like their pain points and what they're looking for. So basically دي يعني فكرة Monkibox get from here. And what we do at Monkibox اللي احنا we try to make childhood development approachable and accessible through play. So play at the end of the day is how the child learns, right? And there's key components on how the brain develops, right? It's play, making these connections, but also the bonding that happens with the parents. And we try to bring both these things with Monkibox.
It's very interesting إنه قلت هيك لأنه a lot of times parents what happens, we go to a store or any store that sells toys, and we pick up a toy based on the age that's written on the box, right?
Right.
And then you go home, and most of the time, or sometimes, your kid will not respond to that toy.
Right.
And what happens is you start thinking, there's a problem with my child because someone very smart created that toy and put that age group, and my child is within that age group and is not responding. It makes you realize it's not a problem with your child or hitting milestones, but يمكن the toy is not the right toy for your kid. It doesn't spark anything in their brain. It's a very interesting way. You didn't think the problem was in your child, but you looked at it from a different approach and perspective.
100%. I'll tell you why this happens. So when you walk into a toy store, you're gonna find so many different toys. Okay, if you look at the age group, you're gonna realize that most of the toys are 3 years and plus. Okay. When you dig deeper on a toy by toy basis and the educational value of this toy, it's typically suitable for مثلا a younger age. However, the way it was safety tested, because safety testing for toys under 3 years old is actually really expensive. Okay, so most toy companies, let's say, they're incentivized to maximize their profit. So they want to make things as broad as possible, and they want to cut costs or save money. By making things broad as possible, إنه لو حطوا age range 3 plus, عندك anybody from 3 years مثلا until whatever years they can buy it.
True.
فاهمة قصدي؟ فدي حاجة. وتاني حاجة إنه مش عايزين يوجعوا دماغهم من الآخر للsafety testing و going through all, because أنت عندك 0 to 3 safety testing is very it's very tricky. It's very tricky. It's very costly. You have to redesign the technical aspects of different toys in order to make sure that it actually passes these safety tests. For most of these toy companies are not bothered to do that, right? This is why when you pick up a toy ممكن مكتوب عليها 3 plus بس هي actually suitable لحد عنده 10 شهور. بس just because it does not have the right safety certifications.
Okay, so they plaster the age that works best for that scenario.
بالزبط.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's very interesting, by the way. أول مرة بسمع هالخبرية. That's really interesting. طب if we want to talk more about Monkibox and what you do. I know your boxes, but assuming some of our listeners or viewers don't. Your boxes are broken down into age groups, ما هيك? And you categorize them as educational toys.
Yes.
شوي هيك بس تشرحي لنا what makes a toy educational in your view and from a Monkibox perspective.
Okay. So the reason why our play boxes they're stage-based, they're broken down to specific ages, because we look at the specific age and stage, and we look at the developmental windows that open up. So typically within a child's life, especially in the first few years, you have these developmental windows in which it opens up, they're absorbing and learning, and they start getting into certain things and start exploring certain things. And once they start getting it, they move on to something else, right? So we look at all these developmental windows. So we've designed the play boxes to be stage-based to take advantage of these developmental windows. And this is why we get feedback in my child is actually really engaging with this toy, or we haven't seen them engage with other toys like they engage with Monkibox toys, because we're designing and we're providing parents with what the child wants, what the child needs at this particular point in time. Okay. So this is how we look at it from like, providing the stage-based aspect, right? In terms of what makes a toy education, it goes back to what I just mentioned. And it's about helping your child develop, okay, in a certain way. It could be cognitive, it could be fine motor skills, it could be gross motor skills. يعني إنه بتشجع الطفل إنه يوصل للdevelopmental milestones الجاية، or بيشتغل على الskills اللي محتاج يشتغل عليها دلوقتي. So when I look at a developmental toy, if I'm judging what makes a toy educational, is what value is it providing my child? Is it a passive toy ولا active toy? Is it something that my child بس بيدوس على حاجة بتطلع and we're laughing and then move on? Yeah, you know what I mean? Or is it something that is engaging with my child? بتخليه يفكر، بتخليه إنه to problem solve شوية، بتخليه إنه is it teaching him or her something specific?
That's very interesting. Yeah, it's a problem solver for my child. Like one of the boxes he had that it's like a cushion وفيها هول الbuckles.
صح.
Yeah, it's solved his problem to unbuckle himself بالcar seat. I can tell you.
That's the negative aspect of it.
So لا صار يعرف ماما press here.
Yeah.
So it does عن جد.
Yeah.
It does. It helps them stimulate their brain in a different way. And I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
طيب before I dig into more details بهدول المواضيع, Montessori. We hear this word هلا كتير.
Yeah.
Everyone is on this topic. ويا ريت I knew about it, or I had the knowledge to create my kids' room in this way, mattress on the floor,
Yeah.
wooden toys وهول الأخبار.
Yeah.
You do have some toys or that are within the Montessori school.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Shed some light عليه.
Yeah,
Let's explain it, because I think a lot of people are using the word without really understanding what it is or what's this school all about.
صح. Okay. So Montessori, put very simply, it's an educational philosophy. Okay. It was designed by Dr. Maria Montessori, an Italian educator. And the approach of Montessori or like what it means is to provide a child-led learning environment, okay, to have a place that is set up for them in order for them to explore it freely, to see what they like, what they want to do. They lead the way they play. It focuses on sustainable material and natural material as much as possible. It focuses on helping the child become independent, giving them real life experiences to eventually just make them like wholesome, like problem solvers, and so this is the concept of Montessori. There is certain Montessori standards, very strict Montessori standards, which is very rigid in terms of like how you set up certain things. Like there's a very specific mentality and philosophy. When it comes to Monkibox, we say we're Montessori inspired, okay? Because we've taken a lot of the positive things when it comes to like the Montessori play tools. So for example, the sustainability aspect, the natural material, number one. Number two, الفocus على real life objects or real life experiences. يعني مثلا if you look at our books, I don't have one with me, but if you look at our books, كلها actual pictures of real kids, real
happy,
interactions,
sad, angry.
بالضبط. يعني مثلا عندنا كتاب اسمه opposites, okay? معظم الكتب for kids to show opposites will show you big and small in a book as يعني an elephant and an ant. This does not mean anything to a child. Like it's not real life. They don't experience it in their real life. They cannot put it next to each other. In our book, مثلا, we show you a girl holding a ball that is small and the same girl holding the same ball but much bigger.
Okay.
So they start making these kind of like connections,
That's
you
interesting.
know, and it's also focused like a lot of independence. And تشجعهم, like this is one thing I really like about Montessori, تشجعهم to be independent, you know, like, you know, I'm going to be able to feed myself. I'm going to be able to set the table myself. I'm going to be able to do a lot of, يعني, I don't need to necessarily rely on somebody. It empowers them. Let's say it gives power to the child.
Okay. إذا بدنا نرجع شوي to the Monkibox
Mm.
boxes, at what age do you start providing these boxes to kids? من أي عمر فينا نبلش
من
بالboxes؟
عمر الولادة، يعني
Okay.
من newborns.
How do you put the box together? يعني how many toys do you put in each box, and why do you specify this number, not more, not less?
Okay.
كيف بيضاينون within this age group? Do you introduce them all at once, or is it one by one? And I know for a fact that your boxes have the information cards as
Yeah.
well to explain the goals of each toy.
Yeah.
But if you want to explain هيك the experience in general from an end user perspective, يعني أنا as a parent I order the box, I get it. How shall I deal with this box?
Yeah. Okay. So احنا first of all we have different options. So you can become a member to Monkibox. When you become a member, you have certain benefits, and also you get the play boxes حسب عمر الطفل بتتبعت every 2 months. So كل شهرين بيوصل لك البوكس حسب عمر الطفل. Okay. في other option إنك you can just get the boxes as a bundle مع بعض. طبعا every family has different preferences, right? So we want to make it as accessible as possible. تقريبا كل play box we're talking about 7 different play tools. Okay, طبعا there is some boxes we have actually up to 12 play tools, some boxes we have a little bit less. So it depends on the stage of the child من ناحية إيه؟ من ناحية what the child needs at this specific point of time. What are the tools؟ يعني إحنا برضو one of the things إحنا we don't call them toys, we call them play tools.
Okay.
إن هم أدوات لعب.
Okay.
You
That's
know?
nice. That's a nice
Yeah.
way to call them. كمان.
Exactly, like, you know, because it shows you, you know, you use them to, it's a means to get to something, essentially, right? So yeah, so each play box has around 7 play tools, and it has a book. So every play box also has a book, bilingual. Our focus إنه عربي and English is our priority equally. فحتلاقي إنه كل play box بتيجي instruction cards for the parents. Because what's very important, one of the things that we really try to do and has a huge effect on a child's development is the time they bond with their caregiver, whether it's a dad, a mom, a grandma, whoever it is. That we try to empower this caregiver to be more confident. Okay. And typically, when a caregiver is educated or they understand what they're doing with the child, they feel more confident. So they enjoy the experience more. And as a result, bonding happens more, you know? And this is some of the things that, like, when I talk to Monkibox parents, one of the key things that they always say, you know, I feel empowered. Like, you know, I feel like I understand what my child is going through. That you feel connected instantly. And no, you're not guessing. You're just sitting and you're bouncing back with your child.
It makes playtime more interesting.
Exactly.
It has back and forth. It's sort of like it creates a dialogue. مظبوط.
Exactly.
لأنه it's not just pressing a toy like you mentioned earlier. فيها activity. You have to do something to enjoy the play tool.
Exactly.
اللي موجودة. I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
طيب بهدول ال play boxes, is there any specific criteria that those play tools have to go through in order to be included بهول boxes?
Yeah. So احنا ال product development cycle عندنا is actually very long, you know. So we start off with بنشوف أول حاجة we look at the different child development research that is out there. So احنا we created our own curriculum, our own pedagogy that's certified by the Education Finnish Alliance. وكمان we're backed by the Abu Dhabi Early Childhood Development Authority. فإحنا we really focus on the impact that we're creating. So what we do is we start off looking, okay, this is all the child development research that we have available to us for this particular age group, right? And we start looking at what are some of the play tools or what are some of the activities that the child needs to be doing, okay, during this stage to help them either get to the next milestones or to help them work on what we're going through right now, okay? So we take this and then we start prototyping. Okay, so we start coming up with different prototypes, different samples. We have a huge community of parents, and within this community, we have people that are basically we created our own play lab where we have parents test out these products. We interview them. We see how the children interact with them. We put them in front of so many different types of experts. We get feedback, and based on these experts that are seeing people in their clinics or interacting with parents directly, they provide us a lot of practical feedback as well. How does that translate? Um, and one key thing, if every demographic kind of like has its own needs,
True.
so one of the key things مثلا we were focusing on قوي في الأول tummy time for a newborn. Our region is unfortunately one of the regions that has the least amount of tummy time.
مزبوط.
But again, I don't blame parents because we don't know. But tummy time is one of the most important things you can do for your child.
مزبوط. And you have that mirror. I have to tell you, it's still our best friend.
No.
My youngest is 10 months and she still uses, she's a girl, obviously.
Yeah.
She loves the mirror.
Yeah.
But it's, and I remember one of my workshops, I did use your tummy time mirror as well and introduced it to parents because of the importance. It became a play tool, but it's also something really important for their development and their muscle strength. So yes, I do see the correlation how Monkibox helps reach milestones better, but in an enjoyable
Exactly.
way.
Exactly. Because for one of the other things for tummy time specifically, babies hate it. Babies hate tummy time. It's like, when
It's
you go
gym
to the
for
gym,
babies.
exactly.
Do you enjoy push-ups?
No, not at all. So we've made it like more interesting for them and to incentivize them to look up by creating this standing card holder where you put the black and white cards in it, which
مزبوط, yes,
we know they're
exactly.
attracted to. So it gives them this little incentive to look up.
مظبوط, that's so true. Rana, if we want to talk, انت حكيتي شوي عن الريسيرش انه you guys do some research, but how do you stay up to date in the day and time we live in? Things progress really fast and kids move on بسرعة. يعني how do you keep kids interested بالtoys? And how sustainable are these toys? Not from a recycling perspective وهيك, بس مثلا assuming I got a toy box هلا, how long can my child play with it? يعني is it normal if my child continued playing حتى if they outgrew that age group?
Yeah. I love that you asked this question بصراحة because أنا كرنا I hate waste. يعني I like minimalism. I don't like a lot of stuff. I don't like, So one of the things that we focus on when we're designing a toy or designing a play tool, how can a child play with it as it grows? And this is something that we communicate in the play cards we provide. Some parents, but I'm talking to them and they're like, but this play tool, it's too advanced for their age. I'm like, no, it's not too advanced for our age. Actually, it's a step-by-step process. So for this particular age, you utilize this play tool by doing this. Okay. For the next age, we're going to utilize the play tool differently. For the third age, like as they grow, there's so many different ways that they can come to the play tool and utilize it, and we do a lot of this content on our Instagram as well to educate the parent and provide you with all these different activities and all the different things that you can utilize the play tools with as the child grows. Yani, I'll give you an example. One of my favorite products is this. It's for the box starting 5 months. It's a spinning rainbow.
Yeah.
Okay. This until this day, my 5-year-old goes back to it and plays with it, and we do different games with it. We stick things. We start guessing the colors. So there's so many different ways each play tool
triggers your imagination.
Exactly. And typically we have different complexities. So for example, this particular button board, okay? This comes with like these different play cards. It goes from the easy play card, like the easy cards, them for matching, to very complex ones, which requires a lot of skills.
That's interesting you said that لأنه أنا with the boxes we have and I see my son going back and forth between the boxes, especially now that his sister is there. So I would see them playing differently with the play tools that they have. Absolutely. I did mention before when we started our episode today, and no, we have toys in different parts of the house. So we have designated toys for every part of the house. Yani the more quiet toys are in the bedroom. So it's a quiet place. If we need to wind down before bed, هيك بدهم يلعبوا على السريع, or when they wake up. We have ones in the living room, the ones that are a little bit more noisier, or if they play with it, they could create some noise. Then we have some for bath time. So I have to say Monkibox is all around our house. يعني حتى we have some that we travel with. I did mention the placemat,
I
the
love
food
that.
placemat.
Yeah.
It's amazing because it does teach them what goes on the table.
Yeah.
يعني your plate, your cup, your spoon, your fork, your knife.
Yeah.
And he knows like knife, no. He says
Oh.
knife, no. You know, knife is for mama, papa. It's not for him. So it is educational in a way parents wouldn't expect it because we're not on your team. So
Yeah.
we look at things from a different
صح.
perspective. And then when
صح.
you see your child, how they're responding and how they're interacting
Yeah.
with it, you realize it differs from
Right.
one child to another. And the most amazing part إنه كل ولد interacts with the play tools differently. And it's not like as you mentioned بتطلع صوت and then we just listen to the music, or it's a car and it moves.
Yeah.
عن جد every child interacts differently and plays with it differently.
Yeah. This is where the child led comes in. This is where like having it open-ended for the child.
طب انت بهيدا الاكسبيرينس تبعك وهيدا البزنس, what was your goal؟ يعني انت you started off because of your children. بس هلا as a business and you're running this business as a boss mama كمان, what do you hope to achieve من خلاله with children of غير ناس, يعني أولاد الناس. What's your goal? What's your end goal?
Okay, we're very impact driven. يعني we really look at how many houses we've reached, how many kids we've touched and interacted with. And ultimately, our impact is to reach as many houses and families as possible in the Middle East and beyond. يعني. Because we've seen it, like when we do our interviews with our families and we talk to them, we see how the results. And now we're like, 90% feel more confident parents just because they understand what we're going through. 85%, for example, see the different developmental milestones, like they see the progress right away. So there's a lot of validation to the impact of learning through playing and through Monkibox. And ultimately, our goal is just to be make it as accessible and approachable for parents as much as possible, and providing them with that support system. Because for example, part of our membership, and like you join a community, you get access to different expert content and all this, because يعني we were talking about this earlier, it's being a parent now is very different than it was before. It's a lonely journey. There's a lot more, we're lucky, يعني alhamdulillah, we're very privileged and very lucky, there's a lot more information, but there's also the curse of having too much information.
True.
Right? So having that support system that you can get the best of the best easy to you, essentially.
I know we did mention the research that it goes through, the safety checks that toys go to. But what are the specific criteria التويز أو the play tools اللي عندكم بالboxes they must go through to meet the standard إنه they're friendly أو child safe للages مثلا من أول ما بيخلقوا to moving on to a few months and growing up. لأنه as you realize في كتير